Well, hello and welcome to Together Forward's YouTube channel. I'm Annette Blankenship. Today I wanted to bring you outside to give you a little bit of different change to our normal videos. And I wanted to give you a visual because today we're going to be talking about vision. And so being able to have a good vision while we're talking about vision is what I wanted to share with you today. And so when we think about vision, what is it? So it's more than just being able to see, right? So we have our vision that helps us to drive and be able to, not run into other drivers. We have vision to where we can see beautiful scenery like this. We have vision that helps us to work and helps us to, see beautiful colors. But that's not necessarily, even though that vision is important, that's not what I want to talk about today. I want to talk about the kind of vision that gives you the ability to think about and plan the future. It's in your imagination, and we want to use wisdom. But being able to project 5 to 10 years down the line with what we've got in our mind's eye today is what I want to talk to you about in creating that. Vision, everything starts somewhere. Everything that's in existence started somewhere. And so even in like the world of creation, the Bible says that in the beginning God created the heavens and the earth. And so he had to have that in his mind's eye of what he wanted to create in order to bring that to fruition. And so being able to think about how we are made in the image of God, that we are too are co-creators, and how can we co-create with God? Well, being able to do that means that we need to think about and project that 5 to 10 years in the future, what we see in our mind's eye. And we don't want it to just be a small thing. We want it to be big. We want to dream big. We want to think big. And if, we've got this, it's not about actually achieving what that big thing that's out there. It's being able to just move in that direction, make decisions based on what we see in the future, and being able to surround ourselves with the right tools in order to get there. So we're not going to talk about planning because that's going to be a whole video probably in and of itself. But today, just being able to figure out how to think about your vision, how to project your vision, and how to write down your vision. And so vision, again, is just creating that mental picture. It's being able to see what it needs to, what we want it to be like 5 to 10 years in the future. And so when I think about how I got to where I'm at today in building the business that I have, I always knew that I wanted to build a business, but I had to really understand what kind of business did I want to build? What was in my mind's eye? What were the things that I wanted to do in order to be able to see this mental picture of where I wanted to go? And so, in Stephen Covey's book, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, he talks about beginning with the end in mind. And so before we can really effectively plan, or before we can really be able to even start to consider what that first milestone might be, we have to know what it looks like at the end, right? And so what does that end state look like? And not only do we have to see it, we want to be able to feel it. We want to be able to put the details around it so that we can actually live it today, because that's one of the biggest keys to getting your vision implemented, is being able to see it and feel it, and every day of your life being able to make decisions to move forward to it. Because what vision does is it sets that direction. Vision says, there's where we're going. And so when times get hard and you don't want to do it, or maybe you're just having a particularly bad day, being able to see that that's where I need to go. And if I stop and pivot to something different, I'm not going to get to that vision. And so for me, when I started this, I was back in 2017. I was working in a company, and I was not happy at all. I wasn't feeling very fulfilled. I was doing a lot of different things. And so my life felt very chaotic, because the very definition of chaos is moving in all kinds of directions, right? So I had no direction for where I wanted to go. I knew I wanted to build this business, but I had no idea like what kind of business. I didn't really sit down and think about it. And so because I didn't really have a clear picture, that mental picture in my mind, I wasn't going to get there. I just kept doing, what I felt, like the status quo. I just kept doing the same things over and over again and never getting a different result, except for the fact that I kept adding to my plate. So I was doing ministries. I was involved in all sorts of things at work. I kept trying to project my career, but I always had this thing in the back of my mind that I wanted to build this business. And so that was the unfulfilled part. And so when I got really clear about what it was that I wanted to do, I had to, before I could figure out how to get there, I had to have this really clear image in my mind. And so what I did is I just sat down and I wrote out 3 different scenarios of what my life, 3 different days of what my life was going to look like. It was kind of like a Dear Diary exercise, right? This is what I want. So I envisioned myself being 5 years into the future, and this is what I'm doing. And so I started to write. This is what I'm doing in my vocation. So my vocation, I'm operating in the form. I'm teaching. I'm writing. I'm doing YouTube videos. I'm facilitating. I'm being a coach. I'm guiding people to their visions, ironically. And so that when I started to really get clear on what it was I wanted to do, I wanted to help people and organizations to be able to realize their visions and all that goes along with it. And there's a lot that goes along with it. But like I said today, let's stay focused on vision. But figuring out what was in my mind's eye was very important. And so being able to write out that 5 year of what I wanted to look like in 5 years, and that it looks very much like it does today, of being able to come up with these YouTube videos, being able to help you figure out where it is that you want to go and being able to be clear on it. And so it set the direction for me. And so now everything that I did, all of my time, extra time, because I didn't have much, because I was an employee after all, and I had all kinds of ministries, and was just doing all kinds of stuff trying to find that fulfillment. But once I realized what I wanted, I could combine not only ministry and business together, because I was helping people, and that was my whole definition of ministry, helping people to get where they wanted to be. But now I started making decisions, not just based on that, but where I wanted to live. I based it on my money situation, my finances could be going towards that vision, and being able to clarify with my husband where I wanted to be and set expectations with him and get his buy-in and agreement towards that vision. And so being able to sit down and write that out very thoroughly about a day in the life of Annette, 5 years, if that vision were to be realized. And I didn't just do that with my vocation. I did that with my family, what I wanted my family situation to look like. I knew that I wanted to be in Florida because I love this view, but I knew that I was going to miss my family. And so what did that look like? Like how was I going to navigate that? Like, I want to be able to see my family back in Georgia. I wanted to be able to live in Florida. And so obviously to me that meant being able to travel at least once a quarter. And so I had to write that out. What does that look like? And so, I'm in the future. I'm 5 years in the future, and my business is going. I've already got that into my Dear Diary. Now, what is it? What does it look like? It looks like me traveling back and forth to see my granddaughter. It looks like me traveling back and forth to see my mom and my dad and my sister and friends and all, just that whole thing, and being able to stay with them. And so in my mind, I could see me doing that, and I could see me sitting down with them and having deeper conversations and deeper meetings, because I would be able to be with them in a focused environment when I was able to go and stay with them. So that was big weighing on decisions of, being able to be out here, to be by the water, to have a new life in a region that I just always wanted to be a part of, to know what that felt like. And so that was also a part of our 5-year plan. And so the third thing was, not only just my vocation and friends and family, but also, what was it that I was going to be doing? Like, what kind of situations was I going to continue to use my gifts and talents in a ministry type setting? And so I was able to write that out. What does that look like? What does my investment plan look like? And so I just took all of these things that were important to me, and I just created a Dear Diary version of that. And I just really thought about it. This is not a hard exercise if you let yourself do it. You've got to let yourself go. You can't allow the constraints of today to bother you. What you need to do is just take all of that away and say, if I had all the time and all the money in the world, what would I do in 5 years? What would that look like? And so being able to get clear on what that looks like for you, and then we can figure out how to make it happen. But the first thing is getting clear in that mental picture. And so every decision from that point, after I had those clear Dear Diary moments, every decision was getting to that vision. And it took a good 3 years to get there. And all of it is not brought to fruition yet, but what I had imagined is actually happening. Now I've got further plans for, the next 3 to 5 years. And I feel for 100% positive and believe that I'm going to get there because I'm making those same decisions. I'm focusing my time, and I'm focusing my money, and I'm focusing all of my energy into getting there. Why? Because I think that's what's important in my life, and I think that's where I'm being led to go, and because it's in my mind's eye. And I may not have all the skills that I need to get there, but right now, but that's okay because that's what my time and energy and focus and money is going to go into. All starting with that mental picture. And so not only does it a mental picture of where you want to be, not only does it inspire you personally, but when we do this with our business goals, we inspire others. Not just business goals, but ministry goals, nonprofits. When we know and you're clear about where it is that we're going, then it is so life-changing. Today, I sat in on one of those discussions. We had a meeting with some folks that is a part of this ministry that I'm a part of, and we talked about what the future was going to look like. We talked about that 3 to 5 year plan. We don't have all the things in place, and we just we pretty much just cast the vision for each other today of what it would look like. There's a long way to go. There's lots of people to get involved, but if we don't have that mental picture of where we want to go, we have no place to start. And so it was very motivating and very inspiring for me to be able to sit in this session, and it was for everybody else. And so now, we've got all this brain power that now that we understand the vision, we're all working together to get there. And we need lots of other things in place. Like I said, there's lots of other things going on. We're not going to focus on the plan right now because today was just all about understanding where we wanted to go and that building that mental picture. And without knowing exactly where you want to go, it stunts your growth. You can't grow to where you would be able to in your personal life or in your business if you're not being able to project that vision and you're not being able to see where you might be able to go. You're also directionless. Like if you think about the very picture of chaos is, going all these different directions. And one of my biggest things with my business is the Helm's wheel, because the Helm's wheel, if you look at it, has got all these different directions. But then I always say, when you put that band of leadership on there, when you put that band of vision of where we're going to go on there, and then leader steps up to that helm and starts directing it, then that is going to get us to our destination, right? And so being able to have that direction also starts from having that mental picture. Also, when you don't have a good vision for where you're going, your employees, there's low engagement. People don't understand, and so they don't know how to help. And so being able to have that vision in place helps you to get better engagement from your employees. It's also like when you don't have a mental picture for where you want to go, you can't prepare, you can't plan because you don't know where you're going. And so if you don't know where you're going, you're sure to wind up there. And that would be, in some place you probably really didn't want to be. And so being able to not only use that vision for your own life to make your own decisions along with your family, but being able to, for your business, have that in your mind so that your employees can help you get there. And so I wanted to also tell you a story about Kodak. And, Kodak was very popular, and had a great business going at one time. And so when you think about what happened to that, it all comes back to vision. Because Kodak was very prosperous in what they were doing with film, they didn't have this vision for what they could be. And so what happened was in 2012, they were on the brink of bankruptcy. They were blinded by that success that they had. And so they had to sell off a lot of their patents and things so that 2013 they could emerge as a smaller company. And today they're still less than $1 billion organization. So what happened? What happened with Kodak? Well, they actually, prior to, I think it was in 2001, they invented the technology that was needed in order to go digital. We didn't need film anymore. We were all going digital because that was the disruption. The market disruption was being able to have a digital camera, being able to take pictures digitally. And, in the New York Journal and Constitution, it was reported that management thought that the new technology that was created, that was brought to them, was cute. But they told everybody, don't tell anybody about this because it scared them. They were happy with how things were. They were happy with the status quo. They were happy to just continue to, have film be that part, but they lacked vision. They couldn't see how this new technology was going to be able to help them to get to the future. And, we all can be that way. We all can get into the status quo and not allow ourselves to envision this brighter future of, and being able to be a disruptor. So they were happy, and they were with their status quo. They were fearful, and because they feared that creating this new technology, nobody needed film anymore. So where was their bottom line going to go, right? They weren't able to see that this new technology that could set them up for the future. So they did. What's interesting to me is in 2001, they did purchase a photo sharing site in 2001, but they failed to make their historical tagline, shared memories, shared life, a reality, because their leaders, again, decided they wanted to stay in the status quo, and they did not have a vision for this. So they became stagnant in their organization. They wanted to grow, but they couldn't grow. So they stayed right where they were because they couldn't take this new technology, and they couldn't envision what it could do for them in the future. They didn't take a calculated risk. They didn't want to disrupt their market. And so what happened was in February of 2004, just a few years later, Facebook came out, and digital pictures took off like a rocket, right? Now, no longer did we need the film and go and have that developed. We had it right here on our phone, and we could upload it to this Facebook site, right? And it was all the rage. So then, by 2012, Kodak was in bankruptcy, like we talked about a minute ago, when they could have been the market leader. And so today, I just want to encourage you to create your own Dear Diary exercise. Sit down with yourself and think about all the different areas of your life, like your family and children, or your parents, like I was telling you about my family. Like, family can be extended. It can be family and friends. So think about that. What does that vision look like for you? What does it look like for your marriage? What is that vision because that was another part of mine. It was, what I wanted my marriage to look like. And what's interesting is my marriage looks like that today because I took active steps to get there. But it didn't start until I could create that mental picture in my head. And so then also, what did I want my business to look like? What was my day going to look like? What was I interested in being able to put out there? And so all of these things are important in being able to envision that. And like I said earlier, when you have that vision and you start making decisions and plans based on that vision, you're more likely to get there because now you're focused and all of your resources, your time, your money, your people are pushed into that direction. And you may even, if you're not used to setting high visions, you're probably going to reach it a lot sooner. Now, ironically, it took me exactly 3 years to get there. And a lot of it was based on faith as well. But the point is that I envisioned it. And so now for the next 3 years, I'm even more encouraged. And I pray that you're more encouraged as well. So go ahead, sit down with your journal, give yourself some time, block it off, take a Saturday morning and just head out to the beach or the lake or sit in your own backyard, whatever, and just write out, what does that look like? What are your vision for the future look like? What does your vision for your children look like? And then we'll talk about another time being able to put a plan in place and what that looks like. But it first starts with vision, because without a vision, the people perish. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next video.
If you enjoyed this video, go ahead and click that like button. Every like helps us to reach new people. And if you want to see new videos on leadership, strategy, and project management to help you with your business or career every week, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and notification bell. Also, please let us know what your top leadership, strategy, and project management challenges are so that we can make some new videos in the future with your feedback. Thank you for watching. I'm Annette Blankenship, and I'll see you in the next video.